Thank you for joining me again on this report about water. You know, we have the governments who give us promises, and people are expected to rely on the governments to give them clean air to breathe and good water to drink. The local government and the state government told us and made a lot of promises to say that recycled sewage water was safe. Several academics made sure that their story hit the newspaper to say that it wasn't safe. And yet the government went ahead and put in pipes for recycled water, even though 93% of the people in a referendum said no, they did not want recycled sewage. This was a poll that was used by the newspapers, and 93% said no, we do not want recycled sewage water and we do not want to use recycled water. You might think that when you elect some people to go into the state government or elect some people to go into the local government that they are going to be elected to go in there and do what you want them to do. But sadly, that is not the case. As you're going to see here from Daphne McDonald, the Deputy Mayor of the Gold Coast, you're going to see that she says that they do not have total control anymore. The control comes down from the Premier. Now that only happened because the BD Labor government changed the Constitution. Yes, they changed the Constitution so that this could happen, and they didn't tell you, and they didn't ask for a referendum. So you can see now that the Constitution of Queensland, for example, has been changed. They're doing it in every state. The reason why they're doing this, the New World Order want to take over governments that don't have any strings attached to them. And they don't want to have to be subservient or answer to the public. They don't believe in referendums. They believe in just giving you what they want to give to you. The other thing, the sad story here, is that the interesting parties that bought into the pipelines and the South East Queensland water are the same people that came out of the Bush administration government in USA. Now I'm talking to Daphne McDonald. She is the Deputy Mayor of the City of the Gold Coast of Queensland. I've known this lady for many, many years, and I'll vouch for her integrity. And I believe that the bureaucrats that are employed by the government have let her down badly. Have a look at this report with me. Councillor Daphne McDonald, and I'm going to say it again, she's got one of these Gold Coast shirts and she used to wear it all the time. Where is it?
It's hanging up at home.
We'll have to get her to wear it more often.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, on the recycled sewage, you've made a decision not to introduce it. Is that correct?
Look, Gold Coast City Council's made its point quite clear, and also myself, personally, I have been opposed to recycled water going into our potable water supply for many, many years.
We're proud of you. Can I ask you though, are you going to capitulate if the state government says put it in next year or the year after or something?
Look, we've made our stand quite clear, and unfortunately it's really up to the state government and the community, and I'd certainly encourage the community to have their say.
Thank you. Now look, what about the fluoride? You remember a long time ago when you and I were little fellas that they had a referendum and the whole of the country said no to it in referendum, and now they're bringing it back to us. What do you think of that?
With the fluoride, Gold Coast City Council supported the Mayor last week in the community's concern about fluoride in the water supply. We still stand by that.
Now, as a mass medication, are you saying that we should allow, it's a drug, we should allow this as a mass medication onto the people when they've said no, they don't want it?
Certainly not. I'd prefer to be master of my own destiny, and that's why Gold Coast City Council a number of years ago went down the track of if the community wanted to have fluoride, they could get the tablets and administer it themselves. Certainly I am not in support of fluoride being introduced into our water supply. However, if anyone wants to have it, it's up to them. We do get fluoride from our toothpaste, our food, there's other sources of fluoride. In fact, fluoride occurs naturally in our water supply.
Daphne, it's on the record now, 98% of the countries in Europe are now banning it. They're not using fluoride. Why are we bringing it in now so late?
That's something that you'll have to ask the Premier. I do know that areas right throughout the world who had fluoride introduced into their water supplies, they have now withdrawn it. And it's
In other words, you know that they're banning it now?
Yes, that's right.
So isn't it strange that we are forcing it on the people here without asking them?
Look, Gold Coast City, and especially through my committee, we have always involved the community into whatever community aspect, such as this. And that's right. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Inflict their views over the whole of the population of the Gold Coast.
That's right. And in fact, you know, I think the Premier and the state government have certainly done a disservice to the community without asking the community for their thoughts.
Daphne, you know it's on record, and it's well recorded by a lot of scientific evidence that it's damaging to children, and the American Dental Association actually issued a warning not to use fluoridated water when they mix the food for babies. Do you think your council here should issue a similar warning that mothers should not use fluoridated water when mixing up the drinks for their babies?
With these decisions now, it's entirely up to the state government. Certainly as individual councillors, we have made our feelings known quite clearly. However, as you all know, that the state government have taken over our water supply, and in fact I've been trying to find out when fluoride is going to be introduced, and I understand, even though the media reports have said that it's being introduced from today, I understand it's being introduced as from Friday.
But Daphne, I can understand you that you are personally against it.
Yes, and council.
And council's personally against it. Let that be known at least to our people that are here, that this council is against it, but also let them also know that it is the state government issuing instructions to these councillors what to do. Is that correct?
That's right. And the community. The state government have taken over our water supply, and in fact, you know, things are happening now that we only find out through the media. We're just a customer of the state government now with what happens with our water. So you people here should be really speaking to your state members and making your feelings quite clear to your state members about the issues that are involved here.
Daphne, you and I have known each other a long time. Now listen, we elected you to look after us.
Yes.
You're saying now that the power's been taken away from you to look after us?
Yes, and what I'm saying to you is your state members have also been elected to look after you, and I'd be approaching your state members asking what their stand is on both recycled water and the introduction of fluoride.
Thank you, Daphne. Good to see you again.
Thanks.
So what are we doing? Our government, our people in Australia, what are we doing having business with people that have a very, very, very suspect past? Let me give you a bit of an idea. The people such as Cheney-Rumsfeld and the likes, North, these people back in, we're talking about back in 95, Cheney reckons that he had nothing to do with the banning of the exports to Libya. His company, KBR, was selling stuff to Libya, and he shouldn't have been. Back in 04, Halliburton discloses that they paid $2.4 million bribe to the Nigerian government officials to get a favourable result. Back in 2003, the Defence Contract Audit Agency confirmed that an audit that Halliburton and a Kuwait firm had overcharged for $61 million for fuel. Back in 2004, the House Democrat Henry Waxman, he disclosed serious irregularities regarding Halliburton and KBR. Look, if you go into the internet, you're going to have a shock, because these are the people that we allowed to come in, buy our water, take control of the water that we want to drink, take our own water and then sell it back to us at ridiculous prices, put the pipes down for recycled sewage water when all of Queensland said, no, we don't want recycled sewage, and yet those pipelines are down there. So we're mixed up with some pretty shady characters. Well, there you have the Gold Coast water sign, the water future sign with the KBR identification on it. And don't forget, the KBR people are also in partnership with the very people that own the Reserve Bank. And guess what? Yes, they loaned the money to the Gold Coast City Council, they loaned the money to the state government, and we are in billions of dollars of debts, and then they used that money to put down pipeline for themselves. Talk about job for the boys, talk about a conflict of interest. What do you think of this one? Well, now we've got a lot of people that are going to have a class action against the government about this so-called Class A plus recycled sewage water. Now this Class A plus recycled water is supposed to be good for people to use, and yet there's people that have come out of the showers with rashes, come out of their skin, have come out with boils and pussy sores. Do you like this kind of rhetoric when the Queensland Health Department said there was very low health risk for people who drank the contaminated water, and yet their own scientists have admitted that there are unknown chemicals in water that they cannot measure and they cannot identify.